Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for Brian B. and Casey talking business from 2018.
What's up, Brian B?
I feel like we haven't done this forever.
We
Probably
haven't.
is true, but
I think
I feel
you've
like-
been on hiatus since July. I think we did episode 1, episode 2, and then you've been gone ever since. So that's all.
Yeah.
You got your.
How you been?
I'm doing okay. No complaints. Just I'm personally very busy now, which where most people are like done. Like I'm seeing everybody's going out to dinner tonight and lunches tonight with office staff and stuff. I saw our friend Mike Walter had his staff out for lunch today and others, which is great to see everybody celebrating. But for me, I'm grinding right now with bridal show sales, like trying to catch those people before they go off to their holiday party. My DJ company's got a bunch of hotel holiday parties tonight that they're all doing. And so it's just that, I'm trying to catch.
How were your holiday bookings? Because
quiet.
I'm curious with the
real quiet.
Yeah. What do you attribute that to? Do you think it's the economy, like just being kind of volatile?
I don't think that anybody ever. I think it's a bunch of stuff. One, I think that truthfully, for a lot of people, the party with the DJ is kind of played out right now, and I know that this year, some of our bigger parties from last year chose to do interactive stuff. Like we lost one really nice holiday party. There was a couple $1,000s. They took their whole company to an escape room, and they did that. And I had somebody else that took everyone to like one of those K1 Motor Speedway type of things. So I just ran into a situation where they were doing something different. They didn't replace me with a different DJ. They just chose to do something different.
Right. Yeah.
So,
we were down too in holiday bookings, and I can't really put a finger on why. We just didn't get responses from normal folks that have used this for 5-6 years, which is really odd. So we got new blood in, new clients, but some of our returners, I don't know, and I kept checking to see if they were even doing a holiday party, and it sure didn't seem like it. So it was just odd not to even get, after a relationship where we've done a bunch, not to even get a phone call.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, I started back in I'd say August, starting to hit people up, and I had a couple of people ghost me until I really pushed the issue. Now, the other thing that we did this year, which was interesting, was me personally with the photography business and with the catering business. I actually worked some of those, and we did ExxonMobil's holiday party, first their kids party, and then their adult party. And I have to tell you, 2 Saturdays in a row, I saw painfully bad DJs. I mean, I really used to, when Peter Berry and Mark Farrow would talk about how bad DJs were, I used to say to them, come on, you're seriously exaggerating. And then 2 weekends in a row, maybe 3 weekends in a row, I just saw really, really bad DJs. One of them was ExxonMobil's kids party, and so it was from 1 until 4 in the afternoon, and we were doing a live Santa Claus photo station, and so we were taking pictures and printing right on property. And so the interesting thing was they had a DJ in the opposite corner that they've used for years, and in the 3 hours that we're there, we heard a half hour of Christmas music when people arrived, which is okay, setting the mood, setting the tone. And then I heard Let It Go from Frozen 4 times. I heard Shut Up and Dance With Me 3 times. I heard I Got a Feeling 4 times. And and it wasn't like people were constantly moving in and out. It wasn't from 1 to 1:30 was one group, and then 2 to 2:30 was another group, and where you could do a greatest hits and just pound it, almost like a little showcase. It was just the DJ really didn't know how to interact with kids. And then last Saturday night, different DJ company altogether, beautiful gear, facade, nice lights, double 15s and a horn, QSC, very beautiful sound system, sounded great. Except for Desposito, he didn't play anything from after like 1981. I mean,
Oh my
I
gosh.
seriously felt like I was at a DJ Tools wedding reception. I mean, it was that bad. I heard
I mean, that doesn't help. That does not help our cause.
no,
You know what I
not at
mean?
all. And and again, and this was the Shed Aquarium. I mean, there were 400 people there, and these people, we had more people in front of our live photo station last Saturday than he had on the dance floor. And these were young,
Yeah.
fun, hammered guests ready to have a really good time. I mean, they were
Oh,
taking fun, silly pictures. You know, we had the props out, and they were having a good time. And I mean, I felt bad. So right after the first of the year, when everybody's back, I'm gonna try to get a meeting with the planning kids and try and get in there and kind of go from there and see what I can do to get a larger piece of the pie and supply them with a much better entertainment.
right.
So where are you at? Are you like at a business center that you're like nodding at people, or where are you
Oh.
at?
So this is my day one. I'm in St. Bart's, and I'm working with a really high-end hotel resort called this one's called Le Serrano. There's only two of these. There's one here and one in Lake Como, and they literally just opened the doors on Saturday for their season. And so they're still trying to sort out like where people are supposed to be, all this different stuff. So their Wi-Fi isn't totally working for the guest rooms. They're still getting up and running. So I'm in the back office just to get some Wi-Fi. I had to use like a little Wi-Fi card that they issued me just to have it. But the problem is like this is where like everybody comes in to do stuff. And I am like one of very few Americans working here. Like the majority of them are Italian and French. So if you hear a lot of different languages going on, that's why. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm here for 2 weeks, and
very good.
Potentially
so you're gonna
longer,
be there for
we'll
Christmas?
See. I am. Yeah.
And where's the wifey?
Yeah. We just got back from Australia. She was with me there, and so she couldn't take off any longer for the rest of the year. So she's going to leave on the 29th, which I believe is a Saturday, and come out. She's off on New Year's Eve and stay through January 1st with me here. So she'll be here for New Year's, but not for Christmas. I would have missed out on the opportunity if I didn't take it through Christmas, because they have a huge party that they're doing in the for all the guests the night before Christmas Eve, actually. So
is Santa Claus a big deal out there, or no? Does it feel American, or is it totally different?
No, there's definitely some Christmas stuff. It was funny because I took a picture. I didn't post it yet, but there's a down by by the wharf area. They have like a cellophane Christmas tree wrapped around a pole with what looks like presents, but they're really sandbags to keep it from like blowing off.
From blowing away.
I was like, wow, classic.
That's funny.
So, yeah, there's a little bit of that for sure. There's definitely that's in the air. But I was in Australia earlier this week, and boy, what a great country. I never had an opportunity to go there before, and they really do it up for Christmas as well. Yeah. I was really amazed. So
now, does it feel different? Like, is the decor different, or is Santa Claus still? Is our Santa Claus their Santa Claus? So Coca-Cola has really done a good job of creating that brand.
Yeah, exactly.
Just curious.
So it was cool. It was really cool. So yeah.
So tonight's show is we just caught up, but now it's time to talk about catching up for all of 2018. So let's do like our top 2 or 3 successes and our top 2 or 3 failures, so that we can actually let's go with the failures first. See how we're doing on time, so that we can talk about 2019 and the adjustments that we're going to make, and that we would suggest other people see. Perhaps our mistakes were on trend, like we were off, and this is how we have to adjust things. So what would you say were your 3 biggest, not failures, but say challenges for 2018?
Staffing for us was a big challenge this year. We've done really well over the last few years of having veterans on our team. In fact, we it's a delicate balance because we haven't been growing like we used to, where it was like 25% growth every year, and you're adding a bunch of staff. So I'm really careful of not over
You think
adding.
that's
Having too much
because of the market, or do you think that's because you personally are focused on Brian B. Official as opposed to B-Boys?
No, I think it's a little bit of both, but we have a guy locally who handles our Florida stuff, which is where I do most of the B-Boy production things that aren't related to me personally. But I think it was a little bit we were too hands off on the management day to day, and so there wasn't a lot of care. And I can definitely point to that on my end. Looking back, I go, gosh, that was a misstep. I kind of felt like, I don't know, for me personally as a DJ or just in general, my management style is very hands off unless you really want me to be invested. Right. But I aired way too far on that side this year. And so, we got some holes to fill next year with some staffing, and hope to do a better job of refilling the pipeline and really making that something that with the guys that are sticking around, really work well. So
did people leave you to go to competitors, to retire from the industry, to go out on their own?
Yeah, we have one person who's having a tough pregnancy, actually a female DJ of ours. Okay. So she's gone for at least 9 months next year. So that hurts us. And then we had one guy two guys who found really good success in the club world. And it's just easier for them. Like they feel like it's just, they don't have to bring gear. They just show up. They're kind of in a season of life where they're in their mid-20s, whatever, and that's just where they're at. And they would rather do weddings later, like down the line. And so they just prefer to kind of be off the schedule. And these are two guys that were doing great, giving great reviews and all that kind of stuff. And it really was not a money thing, which was interesting. I thought that was definitely possibly an issue. And for one of them, maybe, but honestly, it was just more like the high stress of weddings, of the pressure. And they at a club, they can literally just set up, play their sets, and they don't have to worry about any of that stuff.
Gotcha.
And so, anyway, I think part of it was care and just checking in, seeing how guys were doing, and finding this stuff out like when it was already too late. Like, hey, I'm already kind of moving on. I'm like, dang it. So that was one. What about one of yours? Any failures you can see on your side?
Yeah, I overloaded my plate this year. It was just I've had too much stuff, so I've delegated some different things, shifted some things around, and I'm a good schmoozer. I'm a good salesperson, and I don't mind. I'm a rare breed. I don't care about being on the phone 8 hours a day. Like I know a lot of people like, how do you do that? How do you dial for dollars? I just, for every no, I get to the next yes. And like an example is today, I called a bridal salon for my bridal show division. I've left her like 6 messages, and I finally got a hold of her today. Talked to her for like 35 minutes. I'm 98% certain that when I wake up tomorrow, I'll have her contract with credit card information emailed to me. Because by the time I got off the phone with her, she was very, very pumped about doing the show. I had answered all of her questions repeatedly, like 3 times, addressed all of her concerns. But the hard part is, again, I mean, you're a busy guy. You're traveling all over the place. Like, if I have to chase you, like for that, I don't get mad. Like, I don't turn around and be like, what a dick, what a bitch. Like, you know, well, I shouldn't say that. But the fact of the matter is, I don't get it, because I get people are busy, you know?
Right.
And so I just, I just say hello and I introduce myself, and I try not to get offended where, I get a hold of Jane Doe and they're like, we're not, we got your stuff. We're just not interested in bridal shows. And to which I turn around and say, is there any reason why? I just told you we're not interested in bridal shows. I said, I understand that. I'm just curious as to the why. And even some of those, I've flipped it around where, just like DJs, they've had a bad experience and they are looking for, they're looking, they just got a bad taste in their mouth. So my job is to tell them that was a bad DJ, or a bad bridal show. This is how we're different. So that's all. But again, I like the challenge. I like to to grow and do things. And my January shows are almost all sold out, so I'm pretty pumped about that. And now we're going to be in full on marketing mode. And as we know, starting this weekend, even for those that want to get married or get engaged, but not really do it around the holidays or not on the holidays, I'm sure we'll see engagements as early as tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. So this will be a long engagement weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
What about failure number 2? Anything else that stand out beyond being busy?
I would say my biggest challenge for number 2 is just acceptance. And what I mean by that is this. I feel as though today's bride is the most challenging bride we've ever dealt with. They have so much information in front of them. And as much as I want them to do business my way, I have to do business their way. And so I have to find a hybrid because I don't want to text. I mean, you know this. We're friends. Like, I despise texting. I despise it with a passion. I like to hear passion in people's voices, or frustration, or anger, or joy and celebration. I don't want to get like the LOL, or RTLOL, whatever, rolling on the floor laughing. I want to hear it. I don't want to get the text. And I feel like a lot of times people are avoiding human contact today because it's just easier. They're able to be distanced. And so
what's your solution?
My solution is
what's your workaround?
I'm just going to try to do everything I can to be as to try to talk on their own terms. I'm still not going to text. I don't want my personal stuff out there, but I will do more emailing, more, keep reaching out that way and kind of go from that point of view. So that's that. And also just doing even more on social media so that that's the part I think I'm also just doesn't make sense to me. Years ago, you could help solve someone's problem, in our case, DJ, by giving them a beautiful brochure in the mail or what have you. And today, you can't give it to them. Like, they have to somehow discover you. And so that's just the way that it is. So that's all.
Mm-hmm.
How about you?
So how do you do that? How are you going to... Well, for me, I mean, it's similar. It's the social media game part of it that I need to step up a little bit more. I do a good job on my personal brand stuff as far as just like with, but the business side, definitely, I got to figure out a way. I'm not a fan of the pre-scheduled post. I get why it's there and why I should be using it as a tool, but I just feel like it feels fake and not as authentic for whatever reason, and it's just in my head.
Are you talking about on Facebook or your Instagram as well, or
both?
So
just like pre-scheduling, just to me feels fake, and I gotta get over that. Okay,
but here's the thing. Because I do a lot of pre-scheduling, and I think about what you're saying. But here's the thing. For me, I have Merry Christmas pre-scheduled. And what I would do that day live is not anything different than I haven't pre-scheduled. I've gone through JPEGs and I found things that I feel fit, that feel the mood and the whatever, and customized the text that I'm going to add to that JPEG to let the world know that I wish them a very Merry Christmas or a Happy New Year or whatever it might be. And so for that, I think that if you do a hybrid of both scheduled, where you're hitting on certain holidays just to stay in front of it, and then you mix that in with things. For me, I'm not quite as much into look at me, look at Keith Christopher, as much as I am into branding, education, inspiration, things along those lines. Not so much about me, but it's about posting interesting things to get involvement and go from there. And then in the bridal show world right now, I've got paid, promoted ads, videos, posts, everything all over God's green earth based on demographics. So is that, are you done breaking their stuff?
No, I just kind of.
Gotcha.
Sorry, water.
Yep.
My throat was raspy. So yeah, I get you. No, yeah, and it really, you're spot on. I just have to get over that mental thing for whatever reason. It's so stupid, but for whatever reason, I've got that hang up. So anyway, I'm gonna do better. I went through seasons this year where it was really strong, and then seasons where it died off. And
But I think that's just part of human nature. Like,
right,
there's ebbs and flows and everything. You know what I mean? There are times you're burnt out on DJing, and and right now an example is people are happily saying, "Oh, just finished my last wedding for the year," and you can feel the relief when they're talking. Did you just go sideways?
Yeah. Did I?
Now you're back. You can feel the relief that they're done for the season, and then the next thing we're going to see is every DJ that's going to bring out every light that they own at their 1 year New Year's Eve party. So they're going to have flashlights stuck to their trusses and fog machines that they use once a year, and their annual confetti cannon and all of that stuff. And it's all going to be jammed in some banquet halls, whatever. So there's that. And then they'll go quiet, and you'll see a whole bunch of pictures of bridal show booths in January, February, and March. And then right after Easter, everyone's going to be like, "Oh, my first wedding of the year, my wedding season, spring," or whatever it is. So, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have much of a slow season. My first wedding is January 3rd or 5th. I'm sorry. So I basically get like 1 week off, and then I'm back into it, which is
but that could also
January,
be the weather.
February, very full.
But you're also in a warm climate. Come up to Chicago. See how many people want to get married up here, Brian.
Yeah. I'm actually doing one up there, by the way, soon.
Are you doing Chance the Rapper's? Chance the Rapper's getting married.
No.
You can say it.
You guys don't have that on lock?
He is? Oh, come on now. Look at me. Look at me. You think?
Well, if you would have texted him, he probably would have gotten it. But
you think so?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Anyway, so what about some successes? Anything that really worked well that you hope to carry over? Any wins?
I think that again, I don't know if I'll call it a small win. Like, we got our first DJ show marquee, up, and we've got a lot of growing to do. We had a good foundation. We're going to be in Vegas in March for a day and a half. And then we're at a big, new, beautiful hotel that has room for 80 vendors for next year. So we're continuing the upward mobility on that. And that's pretty exciting stuff. And we're going to continue to grow and get new and exciting speakers coming in, and a couple of the old favorites that everybody likes. So, so there's that, so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about Vegas. We've got Jeffrey Craig from Total Entertainment speaking, which is a multi-million-dollar business. We've got Jeff Green speaking from Fort Lauderdale, who just got done doing the new Kids on the Block boat cruise with all their fans and stuff. And he's been doing all kinds of stuff with Royal Caribbean, and he's got a production company in Florida, and he's again multi-million-dollar company. And we've got Anthony coming out from Wine Country, who's talking about buildings. Anthony Salas, so we're pumped about him. And then we've got Kate Pate, which I'm super pumped about, who's coming in from Reno, who's just a solid branding salesperson. So Andy Ebon's going to be speaking, which is a household name in our industry. And so it's going to be good. We've got DJ Speed, Jay, who's going to be our house DJ, and Marcellus Mars Lawhorn's going to be our MC for the week, or for the 2 days. So it's going to be good.
So wow, I didn't realize you're going to have a DJ for this. Is the Vegas one you're talking about.
Vegas, we're going to be Sunday and Monday. So Jay, I can hear you. You kind of froze up for a minute there.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that's cool. Okay. That's awesome. I didn't realize you were going to have a DJ.
Jay's one of my favorites.
Like a house DJ. Oh, he's great.
Yeah, Jay's terrific. He's a former. What do you call it? He's one of your former pioneer demonstrators.
He used to work for me. Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, and he's super nice. That's the biggest thing that I would say I really like about everybody that I've been fortunate enough to work with, is how nice everybody is. So,
cool. That's a good win.
Checking in here. Sorry, I'm
Yeah, I
just.
guess I need to do the same. Say hello to Gus, Randy, and Rez that we have on that have commented so far on YouTube.
And I'm going over to Facebook, and I've got Ron Crowbush. So good evening and Merry Christmas back to you, Mr. Mike Walter. Merry Christmas. His first wedding is January 11th in cold ass Jersey. Now that has nothing to do with the weather. That just has to do with the people. And then again, one of your other former demonstrators, Mr. Walter Gorzella, saying you look jet lagged. So
probably.
Uh-huh.
Today was not good. It was a long haul.
So Zoe Rossi, him with cap on is nice. So there's that. And Walter wants to point out that he introduced speed to you and got him on board with Pioneer, and Mike Walter wished us a very Merry Christmas, which is great. Nice. Yeah, I've known Walter forever. In fact, he worked at a DJ supply store that I used to frequent all the time, and it's truly a talented cat. He's got his events and is crushing it. I saw he was down at what did I see on Facebook? He was at Macy's or something downtown. There was like 700 Santas walking through his store, and he had the music pumping and stuff. So it was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, he's great.
So what are the goals? What would you say is going to be if you had to give a forecast of what you think is going to be on trend for 2019 from a business point of view, not from like a DJing or wedding trend point of view? Because again, the what do you call it? The color of the year is salmon, so all I keep thinking about is my date's prom dress in 1987. So that's a pretty horrible color, but we'll see how it comes into fashion and decor and things along those lines for 2019.
Yeah. So I think for me, one of the things that's going to be just important and goals for me is to utilize the platforms that are out there to reach out to these clients through those mediums. So those social channels, and it being a free platform, figuring out ways to go around that to try to reach these folks. I think I've learned a couple of tricks and techniques through the last of the year and a couple of workshops I've been in on how you can do that. And I just need to put that into place. So I'm really looking forward to trying it and seeing if I can do that. I've never spent money, knock on wood, on advertising to this day. Yeah. And I want to continue that trend. And so I'm hoping that'll work for us. So I'm trying that out. So that's one big goal, is to, especially with the Instagram platform, I want to try to crack that code, and I feel like it's definitely doable.
Good.
That's one of mine. What about you?
I've been doing a tremendous amount of research on proximity marketing. And are you familiar with proximity marketing?
So what the buyer market looks like close to where you guys have your business? Is that what you're talking about?
Kind of. Proximity marketing essentially will allow me to do geofencing around certain addresses. So so I can literally target market, let's say my local David's Bridal or my local bridal dress shop, and set up my geofence around it, and then I can go ahead and start to do target remarketing to anybody that has walked through that door for, and I can start dropping my ads in there for my various companies and so on and so forth. So what I'm going to be looking at doing is I'm doing a lot more research on that to see how to target market clientele that would be going into dress shops, tuxedo shops. I guess if I really wanted to be a jerk, you could even drop it around your competitors' offices if they have them or what have you. But that's not really my style. I'm just looking at being creative and doing something different. So
no, it's the same thing for us. I mean, that's when I'm talking about the social channels. That's part of it, is the retargeting of through different other means. So like when people go onto Amazon and you just search something and all of a sudden that's starting to pop up.
Right.
That's kind of where I want to grow our business as well, because it's definitely where it seems to be. Oh, a trend right now. So
Right.
I want to jump on that before a bunch of other people do.
The other
That's a
thing
biggie.
is, millennials are all about experiential marketing. So we are working really hard to make our bridal shows uniquely different. So our bridal shows, I've never worked harder to have a bigger assortment of different types of vendors. And so we now not only have our stage with our what do you call it on there, our fashion show on there, but now we're having an interactive demonstrative stage where we're doing cooking demos, mixology going on. We have dance lessons. We're doing all kinds of different things to make things more like a call it an adult female or wedding couple orientated fun fair, to make it as interactive as an experience as possible. We're pushing all of the venues to bring out food so that everybody gets little nibbles of things and kind of go from there. So Ron Crombush just said, it's a global market. I'm looking forward to doing my first wedding in the Philippines in July of 2019, and my new rental store online is going great. Leads into weddings and events. So wow. Good for you, Ron. I'm just curious, when you're doing your first wedding in the Philippines, where are you based out of? If you don't mind shooting me a note. In fact, let me just look him up here on Facebook and see. It says he manages KMP events in Canada. So Canada to the Philippines is quite a haul. So good for you, man. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no,
that's fantastic. Huge. So that's where I'm at. What do you think are other people's challenges, other than, I would say another big thing that people really need to take a strong look at for 2019 is their unique selling position. Because I don't know about you, but it feels like every DJ's website is exactly the same, right? You've got 5 rotating shots, and what are they? Hand on their controller, right? Or a set of headphones on the controller. That's standard shot number 1. Standard shot number 2 is a romantic picture of a bride and groom's first dance. Standard shot number 3 is a crowd picture of everybody going crazy, right? Yep. Standard number 4 is a room shot with uplighting, right? Okay. And standard shot number 5 might be one candid of some goofball at the wedding just going crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And that's probably what 85% of the DJs are all doing or saying, right? So the question is, how is everybody else going to stand out? So even if you get somebody to your site, you've now paid $1 million or organically worked your butt off to be on page 1 or drive people there. The question being is, what's your USP? What makes you significantly different than your competition?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a important thing to determine. And I think part of that for me is always looking at, which is, I guess, kind of goes in line with what my goal number 1 was with the Instagram kind of canvassing, is to really define for me my ideal client, because that's the kind of people I want to attract. And there's so many ways nowadays that you can find that kind of information of, who their favorite artists are, what kind of stores are they into, what do they shop for, and does it align with my brand of who I want to kind of target. So I am all about making sure that my USP is sticking out there as much as possible and that people know. So for me, if I had to give it to you right now, it would be travel DJ, number 1. Right. I love to merge the 2. The second is that the music is very eclectic and different. It's not going to be your standard mixes that you're going to hear. And then the third is being a mixologist. I really feel like an open format that is blended well is something that is in my wheelhouse. So those 3 things, actually, and one more. Professional yet not cheesy. So there's definitely a difference. Someplace somebody can hold the zone on the microphone, but I'm trying to attract people who want that kind of stuff. And it was interesting. I had a groom actually, who wrote me an email earlier this week and said, "Hey, my wife found you on Instagram with this video that you posted from It was the Asbury Hotel, actually, in New Jersey. And he said, I'm not even on Instagram, but I love the movie that I saw you do, and I feel like you're a great fit for what we're looking for. So it was just confirming for me that I'm putting up the right content that is true to who I am, and also that I'm using the social channel. And here, this guy booked, a package with me for a prime date based on those couple of factors. So I'm working towards it. I just need to get even more and more defined and right on that money with it and make sure. And so from that, what I do is I go and I research the crap out of these clients that book me that I feel are great fits, to see if there's any kind of common denominators with their buying persona, which I don't think people do. People aren't checking their buying persona, who their client is. And with that information, you can get a lot of intel that will, either confirm or, definitely will confirm where you are and who you're trying to attract.
Right.
So, sorry to get on that tangent, but we were talking about unique selling position, and I just felt like I needed to at least, not just be vague, give mine, and at least let people kind of marinate on theirs.
Gotcha. Well, it's interesting because I just got, excuse me, I just got a book as a gift, and it's funny. This is like the third person who's told me this. There's a guy named Cody Bateman who just wrote a book called The Power of Human Connection, How Relationship Marketing is Transforming the Way That People Succeed. And I literally just got it in the mail like 2 days ago, and I find it fascinating because I think a lot of what you're even saying is, as you're putting yourself out there on social media and allowing people to, and even going into their social media, you're trying to create call it a social relationship with them, right away. And I think that it's going to be interesting. And I guess on some instances, I think it's obscure and it's strange that people aren't having conversations anymore, and they're basing everything on what they see online versus actually having a conversation. So, right. So that's about. Remember how it used to be? Let's get together and have a cup of coffee. And now, when you go into Starbucks, there's nobody talking. That everybody's in Starbucks on their phone. So you got the world's largest coffee chain with nobody talking in it. Which is, if you look at it, it was the old school way of doing things. Was you'd go to the counter at the diner, and like all the regulars were talking about life and politics and sports and everything else, and it's just significantly different. So it'll be interesting to see how that consistently evolves, and maybe not even change.
And Starbucks figured it out, because it used to be you had to pay for their Wi-Fi, and people were leaving it in droves, and they finally figured it out. They got to have free Wi-Fi, so they got AT&T or whoever they were using to donate that. And now
you think they donate, or you think that they're just paying for it?
Probably, I don't know.
Right.
They'd be smart to pay for it. Great.
To pay for a really.
So I got DJ Rez. Yeah. Well, it's a brand marketing kind of deal for them to be connected with Starbucks, and
I agree.
Whether people really see it or not, I know that they use AT&T, and the only reason I know that is because I sign into it when I'm at Starbucks. You know what I mean?
And I don't know the last time I've been to a Starbucks. Couldn't begin to tell you. Yep.
Yeah. So I got DJ Rez, who wrote, Casey, super closer, how would you reply to this?
Okay.
She wrote, for your information, we are looking at other DJs to see what pricing and packages they have as part of our decision-making process. I just wanted you to know this. I look forward to receiving your information. Sincerely, blank.
Okay. I would try to turn the conversation away from packages and turn it more into what this DJ can do for them specifically. Now, this is the biggest thing. I don't know that enough DJs truly are different than somebody else. Would you agree with that?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, you look at the mobile beat
by and large,
and it's a lot of the same songs. But the question being is, there's only one Brian. There's only one Casey. There's only one Mike Walter. There's only one Mitch Taylor. There's only one Big Daddy. There's only one. So the question being is, how do you position yourself in such a way that they need a DJ? They're looking at packages. So in my opinion, he needs to do the best that he can. I'd be pushing for a face-to-face consultation
Right.
And
Whereas
what's that?
I said, whereas I would be doing similar, but on a phone call.
Oh, well, okay, that could be step one. I mean, but the bottom line is it's the human interaction that I think is going to win
absolutely
over. Because again, going back to even the bridal store that I talked to today, I emailed her my media kit 17,000 times, and she got my general branding emails and the whole thing.
Right.
And while I was on the phone with her and she was looking for it, she goes, "Oh, it says you only have 10 booths left." And I go, "I do only have 10 booths left." So even the email with the call to action that there were only 10 didn't change her mind. You know, it was my actual conversation on the phone and that human interaction that I think is what did it. And I think that what this person should be asking for is saying packages and pricing will give you a great starting point, but I'd really love the opportunity to spend 20 minutes on the phone with you talking about how I can make your wedding day beautiful and unique and what have you.
Right.
And then you have to be able to deliver it. Because I think that they're all overused adjectives and adverbs, you know?
I agree. Well, and to your point, the way I would handle this one is I would say, similarly, you want to get them on the phone or a meeting, whatever. And my go-to when someone sends me something like this is, I'll say something like, you know, we start at X amount of dollars to at least address their pricing issues. But then as far as packages, I don't even use it. Even though we have some, I never tell them that we use those. So I say we customize everything for every particular client.
Okay.
So the best thing to do is for us to talk to you on the phone. At least you're addressing a little bit of the pricing, so you're not totally blowing them off. Right. And if they're not in my price range, then why am I even wasting their time or mine? But if I give them a defined range, at least I'm there. But I'll give you a case study here.
Sure.
Recently, I had a bride who is at a resort that we work at all the time in Florida. And she emailed in on the other day about some packages or whatever. And I said, hey, I'd love to get you on the phone because we like to customize everything.
Right.
No problem. So we set up a time. And she goes, Brian, you know, ours is a very unique situation. It's just we're in our 50s, and it's going to be it's a second marriage for me, first for him. He's never had a wedding, and we wanted to just to kind of appease him. We're doing this wedding with 9 people, and what we're looking for, which we do offer, is officiant services and some a live musician for the ceremony. Which if I would have done my general marketing and just sent out a rate card, 99% of that wouldn't have applied.
Right.
But knowing that what she really needed was so specific,
sure,
I was able to book her on the spot because of the fact that I knew exactly what she needed, and I wouldn't even try to sell her anything else because I mean, she didn't need a sound system. I mean, 9 people, she's not going to need some amplification for 9 people.
Right.
So there's a lot of things that just did not make sense.
Sure.
And since we offer a pretty elaborate amount of different things, it was good that I went this route than trying to overwhelm somebody.
I think it's smart to assess the person's needs and to let them know. I mean, sales are really about solving people's problems and then proving you're the best solution for it. And it's funny, 30 years ago when I was working at a paint store while I was DJing on the weekends, the interesting thing about it was I had asked for a raise and the owner said, well, we're not in a position to give you one, but we'll give you a commission on sundry items. Sundry items were essentially anything that wasn't paint. Sandpaper, paint brushes, everything. So the funny part is a homeowner would walk through the door and I would simply say to Brian, okay, so your daughter's getting older. She doesn't want a pink bedroom anymore. So you've got your colors? Yeah. Okay. So let's walk you through everything you need. So do you have spackle to do the nail holes? Oh God, no. Well, here, I've got a little right here. This will be perfect. Do you have a spatula of some kind to do it? No? Oh, okay, I got a little plastic one right here. You know, if you're not a tool guy, that's it. By the time they were done, I had sold them another $40 or $50 worth of stuff that they needed. I wasn't selling them an entire, package of sandpaper. I sold them a sheet of it. I sold them what they needed to paint their daughter's room. Because what was more frustrating, and it's no different than us, is I didn't want them to have to come back and go, you didn't tell me I needed this. You didn't tell me I would need that. You didn't tell me, and I'd walk them through, are your paintbrushes in good condition? And the whole thing was I was being honest and helping them solve their problem. And so, yeah, I could have sold them a gallon of paint and they could have left and that would have been it. And that would have been it. Same thing to contractors. Contractors are all about working on margin. So when we had stuff on sale, I would turn around. The lazy ones, I'd even offer to carry it to their van just so that it was there, and that was it. So
yeah. Well, and you hit it on the head. Sales is about solving people's problems, and it's hard to just with a broad stroke think you can solve their problems with a rate card. I think, and the more you can customize the experience, that's what seems to be working for me right now. Is a lot of customization. So
Ron Cronbush said, I had to learn how to sell by social media. I can't meet most of them due to I travel, so trying to get phone calls, but it's all text and emails. All of the planning I do now is about 70% via text and emails. So, okay, as long as your customers are comfortable with that and that works for them, then so be it.
And if you're closing, then it's working.
That's right.
So I
That's
mean,
very true.
If you can do that, I mean, and to close over a text, I think is like, or even email without even talking to the person. I mean, that's not easy to do. I don't think.
I agree.
So
I totally agree.
That's kudos to him.
And
did he ever say how he got the Philippines gig? I'm curious now.
Well, let's ask him. Ron, do you mind sharing? If you're in Canada and that's the Philippines, is it one of your clients locally and you're just doing a long haul? Are you renting stuff there? Like, how are you doing your, if you don't mind sharing, I'd love to know how you're doing all your production and stuff.
Yeah.
So there's that. So what else do you have on the plans on professionally for 2019 as far as education? Are you going to be back at...
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah, well, I try.
No, I think it's because it's super important. I mean, and it's not, we're probably preaching to the choir here because everybody who's listening or watching us is kind of knows the importance of education. At least I would hope, because we're big advocates of it.
Right.
But for me, one of the things I think my best show takeaway was one that wasn't even a DJ show.
Okay.
It wasn't even an event related show necessarily. It was more of a photography show. I'm sorry, photography workshop.
Right.
So what really spoke to me is there are workshops that are out there that I can pull anything from and reapply it to what my industry is that will be different than what's currently out there if I can use the principles and make it work. So my goal is to find one, because I stumbled across the one that I went to this year. Just in the latter part of the year, found one and it was like, oh my gosh, this sounds like an awesome one, and it turned out to be. So to actively look for some show that doesn't speak to just DJs necessarily right off the bat, but that I can retrofit for me to allow me to be different.
Gotcha. Very good.
And
well, if you're selling, and that's probably probably one of the reasons that Wedding MBA is so incredibly popular, because there are so many different. Selling is selling regardless whether you're selling photography or video or what have you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
So Ron said that his girlfriend is Filipino. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And he DJs a lot of Filipino events locally, so it leads to the Philippines. So Ron, is this your first time going to the Philippines, or have you done events there in the past? So I'm just curious if this is your inaugural trip, or are you a professional that way? Do you literally just have to bring out your laptop and your hard drive, or are you bringing a top case with you? What are you doing, Ron? So what are you doing educationally for sure for 2019?
So definitely the Engage workshops, because it's also not necessarily just education for me. For me, it's a huge networking opportunity, because similar to Wedding MBA, you're pulling in, for me, the planners that are in the space, and also the other wedding professionals that send business. I mean, I looked at my December calendar as a good example. Every show except for one came from that Engaged community at some level. And it was worth it. So, I mean, bookings alone, it's just now starting to kind of really hit. And so for me, that's a no-brainer for sure.
Nice.
As far as DJ shows, that's really a good question. Not that I'll tell you, one of my favorites this last year was Midwest DJs Live. I felt like they did a great job on many levels with that show.
And Gene Nerius, he's watching as well. So shout out to Gene.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. They did a great job. You were at that show too, I think.
I was. Yep.
And I just felt like it was run really well. So I would like to try to, support it if I can. I'm taking the year off from speaking. So as much as I would love to do it, just the amount of time I need to put into that is just, I just am trying to utilize my resources in different ways this year. So I won't be speaking at any of them, but I would love to attend at least one or two of the majors, whether that's Marquee or Mobile Beat or the DJ Times. I'd like to at least hit one of those this year. So my goal is to hit one of those and one regional show.
Very good.
What about you? Obviously you got Marquee, but
Marquee is we'll be in Vegas in March, and we'll be in and I'm actually going to NAMM for the first time in 15 years minimum, maybe about 15 years. So I'll be out there talking to manufacturers, some of the new toys. And then we'll have Marquee in March.
Why so?
Well, I'm going out there to talk to manufacturers about being a part of Marquee this year. So we're at almost 600 registered attendees for Marquee in July. So it's pretty exciting. And then we have, so it's growing, and part of it's because we're doing a show floor, so they can get free tickets to the show floor itself. And then we've got the education passes, which are separate, similar to like a DJ Times. And then I'd like to go to Social Media Examiner again, which is end of March. It just depends on how crazy my life is with my other businesses. And then that's in San Diego every year, end of March, beginning of April. That's an amazing conference, absolutely amazing. And then I'd like to go to DJ Times again. I have to say the people at DJ Times are extremely good hosts to me. And I don't know if you saw, they announced they're going to be back at Harris Casino again. So, and they did Harris, it was a beautiful hotel last year. I thought they did a good job. They had lots of nice dining choices. And so I personally like it better than being on the boardwalk. And if I want to go to the boardwalk one night, then I'll go to the boardwalk one night. No, I'll do that. But I enjoyed it. And so I'll definitely be back. And, and I don't know if you saw, they just did their 30th anniversary, their 30th year anniversary edition. In fact, Jeffrey Craig Cyber was the Mobile of the Month, showing pictures back to the 70s when he used to teach disco dancing. There's a fantastic picture of Mike Walter, full-on mullet, DJing in a gym. There's a great one of what looks like former 70s porn star Brian Doyle from Denon and Doyle DJ with the big, thick Magnum PI mustache. And then there's a young kid also in shorts, not wearing shoes, with feathered hair, DJing Notre Dame High School. And that would be this guy right here, probably 200 pounds thinner. So nice. Funny, yeah. So it was, I was very touched to be invited to talk about how far things have come and kind of go from there. And so it was great. They talked to a lot of different people that have been in the business a long time and are friends at DJ Time. So it was fantastic to see everybody. And I loved the pictures of especially Mike Walter with the big old mullet going on. So, and that may have even been pre-Star DJs, to be honest with you, because he didn't have a sequin jacket on. So, this is the time of year, though, guys, and I know you're winding down, that I can't recommend strongly enough that you pull out a calendar, go online, print out a 2019 calendar, and start writing down what it is that you want to accomplish in 2019 and how you're going to do it.
Right.
How are you going to make that happen? Commit to visiting 3 banquet halls a week, or commit to going to a NACE or an ILEA meeting or an ADJA meeting every single month. Or if you can't do 12 a year, hit 7 out of 12 and rotate, or your local wedding association, or whatever it might be that's going to help you grow your business. Because you know where you're deficient. I mean, all of us know. I just got done doing the NACE. I was the auctioneer at the NACE holiday dinner for like the 10th year in a row. And I had a great time, and it was fantastic. And I'm an NACE member, and I probably have gotten to the point where I only go to like 3 or 4 a year, and I kept thinking to myself, I really need to make this a priority because I could definitely earn a place on a lot more banquet facility and hotels referrals, and just get great education and get a different insight from catering professionals as well. So that's going to be one of my priorities, is to definitely network more. And then on the bridal show producers front, years ago we used to do education and we used to do networking events, and life got in the way when I bought my other businesses, and I have to go back to being more of a community styled situation. And so that's going to be some of the things that we're going to try to do as well. So
what about other educational things, such as these small Facebook groups have popped up over the last couple of years where people are in smaller communities. It seems like that's been kind of a trend as of late. And same with podcasts. Are you into any of that stuff? Do you see any of that stuff having?
I'm trying. I'm hoping this year I'll get invited to this thing called the DJ Collective. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah.
There's a very rigorous application process. I've got my mixtape all created, though. I'm ready to drop that bad boy in there. I've got some Technotronic on it.
That's awesome, man. No, but those things have those small communities seem to be flourishing, and I think it's. I mean, there's been a bunch that have popped up. We already talked about this last time about different ones that we've seen, but even beyond just attending anything like that, like those think tank groups, I'm talking more about like just Facebook groups in general. There's one called the DJ Posse that I think DJ Toad runs. There's there's the Dapper DJ that Rob Foray runs. Granted, that one's a little bit more.
Well, I know Simon Renier, who I guess popped up. He's got the DJ Inner Circle now, and then there's the old school ones. There's the there's the ADJA group page, and you don't have to be an ADJA member to do it. There's DJ Idea Sharing. There's the Marquee Show. We have a group page as well. So there's lots of them out there. But it's like anything. You have to interact. You have to get involved, and you have to be open-minded and have a little bit of a thick skin, because some of the people, on the subject of thick skin, did you happen to see? I know you're friends with Alex Nepa. Did you?
I did. The one about
World War III. He started about scrims on tripods.
Oh my God.
So now I'm not a scrim guy. Are you a scrim guy?
No,
I'm not either. I've never understood it. It's fine. It's but I also
but
don't
it was
drink
just crazy
Diet,
that
so
no, but there's so many people that were boy, that just turned a page quickly of
holy cow. That guy.
That's like anything. Like you talk about DJs not getting fed. All you do is start that thread, and all of a sudden you'll have 700 people posting about like food.
Correct.
And so it's crazy how.
And for all of those people, I say the same thing. I don't have your son or daughter's brain in my hands, and I'm not operating. Okay? Right. I'm not directing the space shuttle back down to Earth safely. I am happily, graciously, respectfully, and thankfully DJing someone's party, whether it's a wedding, bar mitzvah, corporate event, birthday party, whatever it is. So it's not rocket science, guys. We're not, we don't have someone's life in our hands. So, all right. So we're at 9:59. So, John, are you here?
I am.
He is. So, are we on next week, or should we say a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody now, to our tens of thousands of listeners?
We are going to be off, and then we're going to be coming back after the new year. We're going to be switching up the show a little bit and changing some things, and that will be happening starting at the first week of January. Things are going to be kind of changed out a little bit with our shows.
So this was our last live show, right?
This is the last live show, yep. And then we're going to be going to the pre-recorded things. And so
we're going to be dropping snippets on people.
Snippets, yes.
Right. Bite-sized educational morsels.
It's almost as good as spitting bars, but snippets.
Spitting bars, huh?
Spitting bars.
You know that's right, boy. Because nobody spits bars like the double KORUZ, my friend. You know that's right. The K to the C's and the his E. And your son knows it.
He does. He has all.
He does.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that, I got to meet John's son And when I told him I was
Right.
in MC, he wanted to be like, he looked at me, he goes, I don't picture you spitting bars. I'm like, spitting bars?
Oh man.
Are you kidding me? I'm the rap master KC in the hizzy, yo.
And yes, for the next couple of
That's
days
awesome.
at DJ Expo, that's all I was hearing is the rap master keeping coming up with. But he was at least using old school hip hop type rap. So Michael may or may not have known some of them.
Correct, yeah. I was throwing like all the old whatever stuff in there. It was pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
That was good.
But so then
Well, it's been a good ride.
It's been a good ride. So yeah, people can't take us for a full 60 minutes. We're just too intense. So we have to drop it down, let people breathe. We're like a fine wine.
Right.
Now instead of drinking the whole bottle, they just do a shot at a time. And that'll
Right.
I'm sure that that'll be that. So I'm saying to everybody, Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, Happy Post Hanukkah, and I hope your 2019 is absolutely fantastic. So yeah, Brian and I will be back with tasty little morsels for you to gobble up in 2019. So you ready, Brian?
I think so. Let's do this.
All right.
Figure it out.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Good night and God bless.
Good night, everybody.